So these are some ideas I had written a while ago, waking up to the world. It's called Delusions, Expectations, and Disappointment. So delusions and expectations can give us a distorted vision on how things really are. Holding on to these hopes and ideas keep us from authenticity and warp our realities. But we can never really know the outcome of a situation or the truth of who someone is until we experience it. And we tend to be so afraid of the truth of things because as conscious beings, we prefer to be in full control of what happens in our lives. It is natural for us to want to feel good and to avoid anything that poses a threat to our happiness. However, expecting others to fulfill all of our needs and desires is just not possible. Every conscious being on this planet is going through their own journey, each with a completely different perception of reality. We are all experiencing our own realities with our own feelings, thoughts, desires, and lessons to learn. I don't truly believe many of the actions or feelings towards each other are entirely personal. Sometimes we hurt people accidentally because we're trying to figure out how to go about life and what's best for us. And sometimes we can get caught up with hurting each other's feelings and things like that. But we have to understand that these things aren't personal because most of us don't intend to cause pain to other people. Unless you're really fucked up. No, just kidding. So you see, no one can take us away from our pain. What we can do is let go of our expectations and be there for ourselves and nourish ourselves, especially if we are in pain. And when we can build this self-love and understanding, we can begin to do the same with others. Let go of expectations of the self too. Ego likes to hold on to a lot of things, expectations of who we are and what role we play in the world, and wants to build a self-image because ultimately ego wants us to have that love and connection. So ego is not something to be hated. It's something that needs guidance from our higher selves, And if we do the self-love, we can find that we're going to attract love anyway. So we don't need to build self. We just need to love and understand self. If we can understand ego and accept that it's a part of all of us, it doesn't have power over us. It's just an ally. There is then only room for your heart space, which is full of good intentions. When we practice this kind of self-love, we feel less of a need to hold on to things, people that do not serve us. For example, the ones that hurt us in life. Yes, it's true, it sucks and it hurts, but I find that if we take these people and use them as learning lessons, what can we learn from this situation? What has this person taught me about myself or how I should be living or relationships in general? It's definitely good to let those people go, but take what you've learned from it. Where are my notes here? So self-value and love is what brings those kinds of good people and situations into our lives. Sometimes when we meet people during our lifetime, we can sometimes hold expectations and get attached to ideas of who they are to fulfill our desires. This, from my experience, can lead to a whole lot of disappointment. But if we can be open and understanding of each other, and the ones that want to be in your life, good people, will be there. When we can understand each other, we can realize that at the source of consciousness, we are really one. We may not be the same, but we are one. We feel pain, we feel joy, we feel love. We also feel fear, excitement, and of course disappointment and sadness. We feel loss when a loved one dies. We feel laughter when someone is funny. Knowing that we all share some piece of the same consciousness, there is no need to hold attachment. If people are meant to be in your life, they just will be. Whether they're a painful lesson or a love and connection, they will be there. So I say, value yourself and the good ones in your life and trust your journey. When there is less expectations, there is room for more possibilities. So now in regards to situations and attachment to outcomes, keep in mind that no matter how much structure we place in the world and in our lives, nothing can change the true nature of life's unpredictability. When we continuously expect or hold attachment to the outcome of a situation, we lose sight of the present moment, hoping what is going to happen next is our desired outcome. And in most cases, we expect these desired outcomes to fulfill us, making us happy. But true happiness does not come from external things, which are always good additions, of course. But happiness is an internal creation of the self. When there is contentment, flow, and joy in your life, you feel less need to hold on to expectations and control things. This is why our authenticity is so crucial for happiness. If we have a good understanding of who we are, we can therefore live life according to our wants and needs. When we hold attachment and want to be in control of a situation, that is just our ego self trying to take over. But our ego is not to be hated, but to befriend, because ego is just trying to get us success and happiness and love. We need our higher selves to parent ego and show ego that there is a more loving way to do so. So when there's no flow state, instead we create this resistance to the desired outcome because we're constantly trying to control. Have you ever noticed that the more you resist something, the stronger it gets? To be in a flow state is to be comfortable with where we stand and who we are. And that means being comfortable enough with ourselves to sit with all of us, our pain, our dreams, our fears, inspirations, and insecurities. Yes, the more we love and accept ourselves, the less we really need things to go our way. There is now more room for possibilities and adventures. When we let go of these hopeful ideas, and what is meant to happen for us in life will happen. It will not happen simply because it's not meant to be. There is nothing wrong with us for feeling this way. What we truly want is to be happy and successful and have love and connection in our lives. But we haven't really learned how to do any of this. As a society, we often learn that by looking outwards for happiness is key. So getting that really good education, that status, getting that really hot boyfriend or hot girlfriend, getting that really nice car. These things don't take your problems away, and they don't stop you from ever feeling shitty. So stop expecting them to. When things don't turn out how we want them to, it's terribly painful, I know. We are stepping into our darkness when this happens. And a very intelligent spiritualist once said, darkness is simply not knowing. Darkness is not knowing. So the fear of our greatest dark emotion. We fear what we don't know. Fear can put us in a state of despair, anger, hurt, depression, anxiety. But if we can comfort ourselves in our darkness, we could be our own lanterns. We can see that darkness is unknown, and when we face it, we start to learn. And so we can accept the truth of things which bring us back to light and set us free.